I'm ready whenever you are.
Joanne, are you all ready?
1 minute. And I'm ready.
It was in the 4th and 7th years ago. And Brandon Hudson was the defense attorney. And it was an axe murder. And-
Oh, I remember Brandon Hudson.
Oh, Brandon Hudson.
Yeah.
He was a very good attorney.
Yes, it was.
I say, poor guy.
Yeah. Can our parties announce for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense?
Joanne Eagle.
All right, defense, have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
Yes.
All right, the court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. A plea was taken on this case on January 19th, count 1. The defendant entered a plea of no contest. The court found there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty and the court found you guilty. And today we're here for sentencing. Is there anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, that's the.
All right. Court will follow your agreement. The court will sentence you to 20 years in the prison. Credit for any time served. Affirmative finding of a deadly weapon. There's to be a $2,500 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. Take in consideration County Court Cause number 718417. Is there anything else from either side with regards to sentencing? State? Defense?
Nothing.
I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. How old are you?
18.
All right, you're 18. 20 years seems a lot of time for anybody, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So while you are at the prison, you need to make a decision on how you want your life to be. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. Is there any victim impact?
Yes, there is one, Your Honor.
All right. What's going to end up happening, Mr. Mejia, is someone is going to speak to you. You're going to listen to what they say. You're going to internalize it. No one's going to be shouting at each other. Do you understand? All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge Boyd. My name is Mejia. I am the daughter of Enrique Bocanegra. On February 21st, 2022, my life was forever changed. Joshua, the choices you made that fateful day took away the father, a husband, brother, grandpa, and my best friend. And one day I lost my sense of security, my peace, and my entire outlook on life has changed. I have changed. I have lost my sense of purpose and direction in life. My peace is now overshadowed by fear and anxiety. I have difficulty focusing. I've lost trust in people. I panic when I see someone sitting in a vehicle. I immediately start to think something bad, terrible is going to occur at any moment. I get physically ill when I drive away from seeing my family as if I'm never going to see them again. I struggle with why or how could this have happened. I'm trying to process this senseless act in complete disregard for human life in which my father and the cable connected paid the ultimate price for. I know you also lost a loved one, but that was a consequence of the choices that were made that day. My dad was innocent. At times, my mind can't believe this really happened. I can't comprehend this is real. Because I'm still reaching for my phone to call him as I did every day. And the reality of it all, it sits in and it hits me. And the pain is so unbearable, I struggle to breathe. This has not only affected me, it's taken a toll on my family, my brothers and my mom, mentally, emotionally, physically. They could not bear the pain to be here today. But I am here, and I am my dad's voice. I am his legacy, and it will continue to live on. My dad was a great man. If he saw someone in need, he helped. If he saw someone sad, he'd make them laugh. He was an encourager, motivated the young kids. His laugh was infectious. He always had a joke ready. He made friends everywhere he went. If you had a 5-minute conversation with him, you would have felt respected. You would have felt that his words had deep meaning. He would have cared about you. He was a great friend and a father to the fatherless, accepting of others. My dad was also a man of God, a man of faith, a man of integrity, an honorable man, a man of simplicity, and a man of peace. He valued life and he valued family. My mom and dad worked hard to give us a good life. We may not have had the biggest house, but we knew we had something better. We had love in each other. My dad was living his best life. He had just retired, and he was looking forward to coaching softball with my older brother, watching his grandkids play along the way. We had so much planned, and we were robbed of so much. My dad would never walk me down the aisle. I was robbed of so much. The house my parents worked so hard for sits vacant. The house that was our home, once full of love and laughter. A place we felt so safe sits empty, riddled with bullet holes. Still from that fateful day. He sat in his usual spot, relaxing, watching TV, never imagining bullets would pierce through the house, striking the house numerous times. My dad was where he should have been. It was everyone else that was at the wrong place at the wrong time for their own selfish needs. My mom and brother, with no fault of their own, had to uproot their entire life from the only home they've known to find another place to live. I'm angry because 2 years later, my family continues to pay the price for this sense of life. But my parents taught us not to harbor anger. It's kind of good and something bad. God knew I would need someone to show me what love is, how important peace is, someone to show me mercy and teach me about forgiveness. All the things he showed me, not just in words, but by his character, made me realize that one day I'd have to tap into those things as well. And do the same, wholeheartedly, and give that to someone. Joshua, I don't hate you. Forgiveness isn't easy, but it's necessary to live my best life. And that's what I give to you. Because it's what my dad would have wanted. I had my dad's heart. So they take this step to find a thankful closure. This part of my nightmare is over. I pray that God have mercy on you, that your nightmare may begin from this day on. As you grieve the loss of your brother, I pray that God comforts you in those moments. I find it so confusing how grief can make time fly by, like stand still forever. And truly grief is a price to pay for love.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Yes. All right, and state if you want your witness to come back.
Yeah, I saw him back there, guys.
everyone.
Let me ask.
Good.
White out briefly.
Sure.
Please.
And then if you do the whiteout, and then if you make a copy, it won't show up.
This one, ours is not.
All right, let's bring the jury in.
We're gonna offer it if you don't mind. But I thought it was already, the business was already in. I need to remember. Is this one? That's the same deal. That's the same one. So. 40, that is. We're gonna offer ours in 17 if you don't mind. Well, you think so? If we need to talk about it, it's almost, it's like cut off a little bit, see here. Let's get off ours. Yeah, no worries. Okay.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Hopefully, everyone had a halfway decent but inexpensive lunch, because downtown can be very expensive. All right, State, it's your witness on redirect, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Can I first witness?
Yes.
So just to make sure where we left off, I believe we're looking at bags numbers here. So we've got you pull the bag out of that there. So we're looking at State's Exhibit 45 for purposes of the record. And then within that bag is State's Exhibit 45A. And you had already read this number off on the front, but can you pull out the smaller bag that's in there? And that's what is that? What is that exhibit? That's State's Exhibit 45B.
45, Robin.
Okay. And did you seize this as part of the search on August 8th, 2022?
Yes.
And what was the address that you seized that from?
224 Majestic Grove.
And is that in Bexar County, Texas?
Correct.
Okay. And can you read us, here's this number here.
22-04537.
Okay, thank you. And then you pull out the smaller bag that's inside the State's Exhibit 46. And this is, the smaller bag has State's Exhibit 46A, as we were calling that. And is that a pill bottle and some pills?
Yes.
And can you tell me what the number is on that?
22-04537.
Did you seize that as part of the search on August 8th, 2022?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Defense, any further questions?
But just a couple, Your Honor. Deputy, did you did you or your team seize any cash on August 8th from 224 Majestic Grove?
Not that I recall.
You'd have note of that, surely, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't believe we did.
How about this, on State's Exhibit, could
Yeah.
yeah. Deputy, on State's Exhibit 40, that empty, there it's empty orange pill bottle. Did you take that? Did you seize that? Take it into evidence?
No.
And none of those items, I mean, I see toothbrushes, glasses, as a flask, looks like. I asked this question kind of sort of a few minutes ago. Did you swab any of those items for DNA to try to determine who they belong to?
No.
May I have just a moment, John?
Yes.
The, State's Exhibit 44. When this finally came to your attention, how did you package it?
I just took it and put it in a plastic bag.
Okay. We will offer, Your Honor, defendant's exhibit number 17.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, defendants exhibit 17 is admitted without objection.
And it's very much the same as State's Exhibit 40, but if I could get it on there straight. So that's the exhibit, Your Honor. Thank you. And we have no further questions.
Just couple more questions.
Sure.
Sorry. Deputy, this is State's Exhibit 45B. Where did you seize this from in the house?
Master bathroom.
Okay, and this is State's Exhibit 46A. Where did you seize this from in the house?
Master bedroom.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I'll pass it.
Defense.
No, nothing from you.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
He's excused, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means.
I don't think you're gonna leave him again, but just to do the subject of recall, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anybody. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. You're not allowed to view anything. And just make sure you're available if either party wishes to recall you.
Yes, ma'am.
State,
They called Hannah Maselli.
all right, so if you all approach, defense, if you could approach, please. All right, so state, have your next witness come in, please. Sure. Oh, that's okay. No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have you all step outside. And we're gonna come back at 2:20. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. And state if you have the last witness come back into the courtroom, please.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Deputy Mejia. We're not on the record.
You just jump right in.
Just one moment. You ready? Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, that nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the court reporter can hear. If you'll state your name for the record and spell it, please.
My name is Hannah Maselli, Hannah Micelli.
All right, defense.
Mazzelli,
Maselli, yes.
I want to talk to you about one of the substances. You're going to testify, I think, about two different substances, morphine and methamphetamine, correct?
I guess so, yes.
And I want to talk to you only about the methamphetamine.
Okay.
And that is what has been described as a blue item. And I'm just want to bring you on board, Iron, and outside the presence of the jury to explain to me, I always thought methamphetamine was white and in a certain kind of crystallized form. And obviously now I'm learning it can be blue. Can you explain that to me, how there can be different colors of that?
I personally don't know how they make different colors, but in my personal experience, I have seen multiple colors of items that have turned out to be positive for methamphetamine.
And like, have you seen green and blue and you don't know if that's cake dye or cake coloring or whatever?
I don't know how it's made. I just know I've seen blue, I've seen pink, green, purple.
You've probably done 1 million tests since you examined the substances in this case.
Okay.
But what we're talking about is this is stage 40,
Okay.
is that blue thing right there.
Okay.
And I always thought that methamphetamine was in some kind of a crystallized form, but that seems to me to be kind of a rocks type.
I can't necessarily tell from this photograph what its structure or like the substance looks like without the bag. There's a little bit of a glare from the lighting. But I've seen methamphetamine in quite a few different forms, whether it be liquid, a crystal, or I have even seen powdery kind of methamphetamine.
Have
So
you ever seen it in a rock form before? Assuming that's a rock.
I've seen it in a solid kind of, it I guess appears to be like a rock, like one giant chunk.
Yeah.
That still kind of has the crystalline form of the substance. So
So I think you've answered my question.
Okay.
You've seen it in this type of format, but form before, and you've seen it in different colors before.
yes.
and to your knowledge and all the, I assume you've done hundreds of methamphetamine. Is it commonly in the white or grayish type color, or is it in a blue and green and blue and green and yellow, that type of stuff?
Majority, it does come in a white or clear kind of crystalline form, but it's not completely impossible to see it in other forms.
But it's just rare.
Relatively, yes.
Relatively. Okay. Anything else? I think we're good then, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, we're just gonna wait for the officer to come back to do the exchange.
You need to remove that, I think, too.
I think he needs to stay, Your Honor, because then someone needs to take that meth back and it's not gonna be Miss Maselli, so.
Yes.
That last one.
Which meths?
All the packages. Hannah's not gonna take these
But once it's
packages,
into evidence, it stays here.
then she,
Yes.
then she keeps.
Yes.
But everything else needs to go with them.
Okay, yeah, right on. So just one more thing, Judge, while we have the jury out, I did file a motion in limine, and I've spoken to defense counsel about this, but there was a memo fairly recently, it's about a 40-page memo by a former employee of the crime lab that I think you're aware of, and I've spoken to defense counsel about this. I don't believe they intend to bring that up, but if they do intend to bring that up, we'd like that we approach beforehand to discuss it.
We have no intention of broaching that subject, Judge.
All right, thank you.
I think this needs to be. deleted too.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the stuff that is. I think what's
All right, please be seated. All right, state.
Yes, Judge. At this time, we'd offer States Exhibit 45B and 46A into evidence.
Any objection?
No further objections, Your Honor.
Can I proceed, Judge?
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Please state your full name for the record.
My name is Hannah Maselli.
How are you employed, Mrs. Sully?
I'm a forensic scientist at the Bexar County Crime Lab.
How long have you been there at Bexar County Crime Lab?
I've been there for 5 years.
And what's your educational background?
I have a bachelor's of science in forensic chemistry from the University of Mississippi.
Do you have any licensing or training certifications that the jury should know about?
I am a licensed forensic scientist with the Texas Forensic Science Commission, and I've been trained on the job at the Bexar County Crime Lab.
And what are your duties at that lab?
I conduct forensic analysis on unknown substances submitted by law enforcement agencies to determine if they're a controlled substance. And I provide my findings in reports for law enforcement as to the identity of those substances.
When you say controlled substances, what are you referring to?
Controlled substances under the Texas Health and Safety Code, what is considered illegal or illicit.
And you also said unknown substance. So when you receive a substance, to you, it's unknown at that point, right?
Correct.
And how do you go about classifying or determining what that substance is?
To determine the identity of a substance, I would perform presumptive analysis as well as confirmatory analysis to give an identity to it.
Have you testified as an expert witness before?
Yes, I have.
How many times?
A few times. Not offhand, I don't know how many.
And to maintain your licensing and certifications, do you complete continuing educations throughout the years?
Yes, I complete continuing education as well as annual proficiency testing.
Judge, may I approach?
Yes.
And I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as States Exhibits 45 and 46.
Okay.
Can you take a look at those for a second and tell the jury what those two envelopes are?
They are evidence submitted to the Criminal Investigation Laboratory from the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
Are there any case number identifiers on there?
Yes, there is an agency case number as well as a Bexar County's Criminal Investigation Laboratory number.
What are those?
The agency's case number is 22-016279. And the Bexar County Criminal Investigation Laboratory number, or CIL number, is 22-04537.
How do you know that those envelopes pertain to this case?
When evidence is received, there's a submission form that comes with it, and it contains all of this information. So I will match the information on the forms with the information that I see on these envelopes, as well as I initial and date when I receive them. And I see my initials and date on both of these pieces of evidence.
And when y'all do receive evidence, what's the Bexar County Crime Lab's protocol to ensure this evidence isn't like altered or destroyed or lost?
The evidence is given a unique identifying number, the CIL number, and then it is stored in the evidence receiving vault until it is ready to be picked up by an analyst who is going to work it. And once it's picked up, it will then be stored in the vault in the drug identification section until it's ready to be worked.
And to your knowledge, was any of the evidence in this case altered or destroyed or lost?
Not to my knowledge.
Judge, may I approach?
Yes.
Show you also pre-marked as States Exhibit 45B. This has also been admitted into evidence, 45B and 46A. And can you take a look at those and tell us and the jury how you recognize these, if you do?
So both of these items have the corresponding CIL number as well as item number identifiers, the date which they were opened and tested, as well as my initials.
And did you analyze the contents of 45B and 46A?
Yes, I did.
And what do you generally do in each analysis?
Depending on the substance or alleged substance, the process is different, but generally it's a presumptive identification then followed by a confirmatory analysis.
What is presumptive identification?
Presumptive gives a general kind of direction as to what the substance might be. It includes things like color tests, like the field tests an officer might do out when he collects evidence, or just something that kind of gives you where you can go with your confirmatory analysis.
Do you know what the presumptive test showed on 45B?
45B. The presumptive test showed that the item could be positive for methamphetamine.
Can you describe to the jury the general physical characteristics of 45B, what that looks like?
It appears to be a blue crystalline substance.
So once you do that presumptive test, is that the end of your analysis?
No, I will then continue on to confirmatory analysis to properly identify the substance.
And did you do that on 45B?
Yes, I did.
And what kind of analysis, or can you explain that analysis to the jury as well?
So we use a technique at the lab called gas chromatography mass spectrometry, which is a separation technique followed up by a more precise identifying process that will give the identity of a substance.
And on 46A, I think it is, did you also do a presumptive test there?
Yes, I did.
And what was the result of the presumptive test on 46A?
The presumptive test for this item was a positive for a morphine tablet.
And did you test all the contents of 46A?
No, I tested a single tablet amongst all of them.
And what's the reason for doing that?
Based on our standard operating procedures at the laboratory, it is not necessary to test all of the individual pills that are found together in a similar location with a similar appearance.
Is methamphetamine a controlled substance?
To my knowledge, yes.
Is morphine a controlled substance?
To my knowledge, yes.
And once you finish the presumptive test and the gas chromatograph analysis, what do you do next with the evidence?
The evidence is sealed and stored in the drug identification vault until it is returned to evidence, receiving to then be returned to the agency that submitted it.
Did you weigh these materials when you tested them?
I did.
Can you tell us the weights of each one, starting with 45B?
May I look at my notes?
Please do.
The weight of State's Exhibit 45B was recorded as 4.944 grams.
About 46A.
It was reported as 2.313 grams.
Can you tell us what adulterants or dilutants are in terms of these tests and these drugs, these substances rather?
Adulterants and dilutants are commonly known as cutting agents that are added to substances to extend their reach, I guess, to kind of make more of things. But that's not, we don't test for adulterants and dilutants at the crime lab.
But that is included in the aggregate weight of the material, correct?
Correct.
And how does that factor into determining how much of this substance is meth or not?
We, again, don't test for purity or what percentage of an item is a completely an illicit substance. The weight and the identification is of it as a whole.
Can you explain to us what the confidence interval is when you make these tests?
Are you referring to the report confidence interval?
Yes, I am. Actually, at the time of these tests that you performed on these substances, did you make a report?
Yes, I did.
Judge may I approach?
Yes.
47. Showing you what I have just marked as State's Exhibit 47.
Okay.
You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
This appears to be a copy of the drug identification report for this case.
You make it at or around the time you tested the substances in this case?
Yes.
Are you a custodian of records for the Bear County Crime Lab for records such as this?
I am.
And is State's Exhibit 47 a true and accurate copy of your report in this case?
It is,
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, apart from any redactions for legal reasons as required by this case, is this a true and accurate copy of your report?
Yes.
At this time, I'd offer States 47 into evidence pending objection.
May we approach just briefly?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to visit Mr. Stone, please.
Yes.
Moving on. Anybody else? Then we have no further objections to States Exhibits 47, Judge.
All right, states exhibit number 47 will be admitted, and in case I did not say it
Before, States Exhibit 45B and 46A are also admitted.
And just for a conclusion, do you mind telling us what the ultimate test results of items 111 and 21 in this case were for the jury?
The result of item 1-1-1 is positive for methamphetamine. And the result for item 2-1 is positive for morphine.
And does that match up with the numbers on the bags that were admitted under 45B and 46A?
Yes, they do.
And 45B is which number?
45B is item 1-1-1 on my report.
And what about
46A is item 2-1 on my report.
So in your opinion is 1-1-1 meth and 2-1 morphine?
Yes.
We'll pass the witness.
Defense.
Sally, let me ask you a question about the presumptive test. If I hand you something and it's got something red on it, and I say, I think this is blood, you would do a presumptive test on that. And if it turns out to not, the presumptive test doesn't indicate blood, then if say it's ketchup, taco sauce or whatever, okay, then you would just stop doing the testing. Is that right?
I would like to say I don't test blood, but I can kind of understand where you're going with that. If a presumptive test is negative, I would not stop testing. I would move on to a confirmatory test to figure out, because our presumptive tests that we run don't cover all of the possibilities.
Okay. Are you able to do a presumptive test for marijuana?
Yes.
All right. And if I gave you parsley or whatever might look like marijuana, and I gave it to you to test, and you do it presumptively for marijuana, and it turns out to not be marijuana, would you do a confirmation test on that as well?
I would, yes.
Okay. So you do a confirmation test either way to rule it in or out
Correct.
once it comes into your lab.
Correct.
Okay. Let me ask you about 46A, which is the alleged morphine.
Okay.
And you tested a single tablet.
Correct. Yes, I did.
Okay. And you tested a single tablet because the other tablets in that container appeared to be the same shape, size. If there's any writing on it or printing or whatever, they all seem similar to you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what you do is you test one, assume the other ones, and I don't mean assume in a bad way, are the same substance, and then you weigh them all, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then as it relates to the alleged methamphetamine in 45B, that was you said was a blue crystalline substance, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you test, how do you tear off a little bit of that and test it? How do you determine how much you're going to test?
At the crime lab, we have a standard operating procedure for analysis and how much to sample per item. And for methamphetamine or alleged methamphetamine, it is approximately 2 to 5 milligrams, which is a very small amount that we will collect from the substance that's been submitted for analysis. And that will cover all analyses, presumptive and confirmatory.
All right. So you have this substance and it's blue, you said. and it is in kind of a rock form, looks to me like. Is that fair?
Yes, it appears to be kind of a solid clump of a crystal-like form.
Solid clump is probably better than.
Yeah.
We'll live with that. And it's blue. I always thought that methamphetamine was white or clear crystalline substance. And I take it that if that's methamphetamine, then I'm wrong.
I would say that the majority of the time methamphetamine is a white or clear crystal-like substance, but it is not impossible to have various colors of
Okay.
methamphetamine.
And would you say that it's fairly rare or relatively rare that it would in fact be a substance of methamphetamine would be in a colored form?
It is relatively rare to see it.
Judge, we'll pass the witness. Thank you.
State.
No further questions. Thank you, Hannah.
All right. The rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. Okay. Right. As soon as everything is exchanged with the court reporter, you may step down.
Okay.
And could I see defense if you all come forward?
This is not on the record.
Witnesses, we just have this stipulation.
All right, you may offer your stipulation.
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 32.
Judge, we have reviewed State's Exhibit 32, the stipulation. We have no objection there too.
All right, then state's exhibit number 32 is admitted.
Can I read this out to the jury, Judge?
Yes.
Stipulation of evidence. I, John Stephen Meyer, the defendant in the above entitled and numbered cause, in open court, waive the appearance, confrontation, and cross-examination of witnesses and stipulate to the following facts. John Stephen Meyer provided the following address to Bexar County Pretrial Services subsequent to his arrest: 224 Majestic Road, San Antonio, Texas, 78258. Subscribed and sworn before me, the undersigned authority, on this, the 26th day of January, 2024.
Right, thank you. All right, and with that, state, do you rest?
Yes, ma'am, we rest.
Defense, do you rest?
We can initially rest as it relates to that other matter.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So ladies and gentlemen, both sides have rested. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a recess and I'm going to have you all back here at 3:15. And you all can have the discussions that I previously talked to you about with the consent of both the defense and the state. Remember my previous instructions. All right, everyone, please rise for the jury.
Good idea.
All right, so everyone, this is what's going to end up happening. I will have the jury come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Monday. I keep saying tomorrow. We will be back Monday, not Saturday or Sunday, but Monday at 9 a.m. At that time, defense, you can offer that exhibit into evidence. And my understanding is then both parties will rest and close. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right. And then you'll do closing arguments. And then the jury will go out and deliberate. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to stay here and we'll work on the jury charge and make sure that's complete.